Welcome back to my to a brand new episode of Comic Class. And today's lesson, guys, we'll be looking at Dark Crisis #1. And yeah, this is basically the first issue of the Dark Crisis event. And I have a lot of things to talk about in this issue, but without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. So this story basically starts off with Dick Grayson basically remembering the oath he took with Batman when he was a young kid. And after we see that, we're seeing that he's giving, this description of all the things that he saw, be it Kryptonians, Green Lanterns, the Flash family, the Titans, and stuff like that. Just all these different people that exist out in the universe and that are on Earth as well. And they all basically work together to basically try to make Earth a safer and better place. I thought that was a really cool splash page that we got to see, or double page spread. We also get to see that Nightwing is giving the eulogy basically for the Justice League members. And in the audience on the rooftop basically is Destro. So Destro is planning something during all this, as we saw at the end of Shadow War, that Destro is going to be aiming to kill everybody, as he says. And it's kind of clarified a lot more at the end of this issue. But yeah, jumping forward, we just see that John Kent and Wally West basically are fighting off, I guess, Cobra members or something like that. I guess they're supposed to be similar to the Hydra organization in Marvel Comics that Captain America fights. I'm guessing this is like a type of organization called Cobra. I'm not familiar with them. But basically, we learned that a ton of different cults, as well as people like supervillains and that, are kind of like going on a rampage all around the world now that the Justice League are dead. And all the members that are left basically are trying to fight off against, this huge threat of all these supervillains basically fighting all over the place and trying to, do crime and stuff. So we get to see that, the new generation is basically having to pick up the mantle and have to deal with this whole crisis that's going around the earth right now with all these supervillains. But we get to see how Jordan basically arrive and then save some civilians or stop the attack that Wally and John Kent are fighting against. And he basically wants some answers as to where the Justice League are at. And he finds out from Black Adam, as Black Adam tells him the story what happened with Justice League getting basically erased seemingly by Pariah, and that he had never seen anything like that, with heroes basically turning into ash basically. But Hal basically doesn't take it completely seriously and doesn't believe the Justice League are actually dead, as we saw people like Nightwing and even Damian not believe that Batman and the others are dead. And we also get to see in this issue that Damian said that his father isn't dead to John. So a lot of people don't believe that this is the case, that the Justice League are dead. And we'll find out at the end of this issue if that's exactly the case. But Hal basically tells Wally that he needs to look for the evidence like Barry would and try to find out what happened with the Justice League, and that Hal's going to be doing his own type of searching himself. So I think that's pretty interesting. We jump into seeing the interactions with different characters, basically trying to find out what, happens with the Justice League. Dr. Fate basically is saying that he can't sense anything of the Great Darkness or Justice League on any plane. So this place that they're at, if they're not, erased from existence, has to be on a different level of existence, basically, than what Dr. Fate can access with his powers. So that's pretty interesting. And Wally basically tells John that he has to try to get out of Superman's shadow and that he needs to be the Superman that the world needs. So that's basically, he says, John basically tells him what if he can help him, because he's going to be leaving to find out some answers about where Justice League are at. And Wally basically tells him that that's why the world has a Superman for, basically to protect it, and that while he goes off and tries to figure out what exactly is happening with Justice League and their disappearance, basically. And John goes off to basically try to recruit his own new Justice League. He goes to interact with Yara Flor and gives her the invitation after he helps her defeat some type of monster that's on her island. Has a cool interaction with one of the horses and stuff there as well, showing, I guess, his love for animals. and he basically tries to picture the idea of joining a new Justice League, but she just laughs at him, basically says that her allegiance is to her people and her tribe here on the island, and that just like the rest of the world, things are going crazy with like supervillains and people doing crime in general, and this is on her island as well. So I thought that was really interesting. So she basically tells John Kent, good luck, basically. So John basically goes to try to recruit Batman, which I believe is Luke Fox. I'm not sure which Fox son this is. That is the next Batman, but he basically tries to help him out with a type of like chase that he's having with some criminals. And once he stops their vehicle, Batman, and captures the people, the criminals, Batman basically tells them that, he messed up his plan because he was trying to have them lead him to their supplier, their arms supplier. So, and he says, the Trigger twins were leading me to their arms supplier, you messed that up. And I thought that was a really funny moment because it's showing John trying to be like his father, but he's messing up at every turn. And we'll talk more about what I feel about John at the end of the issue, but I don't want to dive into that right now. Let's try to get through the story first. So, we get to see that Batman also declines, or I guess I should call him the next Batman, basically declines joining the League as well. And he said the last Batman's team with anyone died. And really shows that John's just not having the success that he was thinking he would have in recruiting the new Justice League members. And the next Batman also tells him to go ask one of the Robins, so he does do that in general. So John goes and tries to recruit the likes of like Dr. Light, the female Dr. Light, Harley Quinn, Swamp Thing, one of the Green Lanterns, female Green Lantern, Damian, like I said, believing that his father's not dead, as he tells John, Killer Frost, Supergirl, Aqualad. He tried to recruit, I guess, Wally and Jesse Quick, I'm guessing is who that is. Peacemaker, I believe. I don't know who the girl is. Blue Beetle, Firestorm, Nubia, I think is her name, or something like that. Naomi or something. And then we see Shazam and also Booster Gold and the original Blue Beetle, I believe, or a second Blue Beetle. So overall, I guess John does get a sort of Justice League, and we jump into seeing the people outside the Justice League Hall of Heroes or something like that. Whatever that place is called that they have for the Justice League, where they have their meetings and stuff. And people are basically leaving like stuff for the memorial to celebrate the heroes' deaths and stuff like that, to honor them. And we get to see the two sides of people believing that this was for the best and that don't like superheroes, and the people that are for superheroes basically getting mad. And you have one lady basically lash out at the protesters and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that we get to see two sides of how people are viewing this whole situation with Justice League's supposed death. We get to see Black Adam basically talking to himself, and John Kent basically tells him who is he talking to, with Black Adam basically saying not to use that super hearing on him. And we get to see John Kent basically saying that the world needs a Justice League, and he introduces a new Justice League to Black Adam, basically wanting him to join their group, basically their team. And when Black Adam sees this team, he basically calls it out and says that this world basically needs a Justice League that needs capable protectors, and that this is no Justice League. Because the world needs capable protectors, not children. And he basically leaves, and he tells John that you're trying to run before you can walk. Son of Kal-El, you are not ready for this role, and you and I both know who should lead a new Justice League, which is what a lot of people were saying, that the actual person who should lead a new Justice League is Nightwing, as it's revealed on the next page. And we get to see that Nightwing is training a new set of Titans, I'm guessing, under his wing, no pun intended. And we get to see Cyborg, Starfire, and Raven basically overlooking Nightwing's training, basically making some jokes, saying how he treats his students and stuff like that, and that they're happy that he's able to enjoy himself after everything that happened with Red X. I don't read the Titans ongoing, so I don't know what exactly happened with Red X. Maybe I'll check it out sometime, but I do know that something did happen with them because the channels I watch but I don't really watch those videos. I don't really dive into that story. So maybe in the future I'll cover it on the channel. I don't know. But jumping into the next part of the story, we get to see that John Kent is basically flying to where Nightwing's at, I guess, to basically ask him if he can actually lead this new Justice League, because he's more suited to be the leader than John Kent is. And we get to see that while John Kent is basically being targeted by someone in the air, and we don't see him basically get attacked, we do get to see that one of the Titans, the new Titans, basically shows up, I guess, and this guy is basically called Chupacabra, and he basically says that he was attacked. They were watching him and stalking him, and before Nightwing can answer, when he says who, what did they, and then the bomb goes off that's on Chupacabra, and a giant explosion occurs basically. Now I don't know how exactly Nightwing is going to survive that explosion, but I'm guessing John Kent makes his way in there fast enough to basically grab Nightwing before the explosion goes off, or shields him and the Titans. But we get to see that a ton of Deathstroke's people that he hired that we saw at the end of Shadow War, and I will have that video out probably tomorrow. I didn't know that the Batman ongoing was actually coming out today. So I will try to have Shadow War out probably tomorrow, the full story for that, and then I'll probably cover the newest Batman issue that came out today, the day after that. But basically Deathstroke's people are attacking that he hired to engage in this war, basically, or attacking Titan's Tower, and we get to see that Deathstroke is brought Beast Boy basically to him by some of his members, and they basically say that they found him trying to spy on them, basically. And Deathstroke takes a gun, targets Beast Boy, and puts a gun towards his head. And Beast Boy says, that you can destroy Titan's Tower all you want. We'll just rebuild it again. And Slade basically says, we're not going to destroy Titan's Tower, Garfield. We'll let it stand as a bloody warning to anyone who tries to pick up the torch and put on a costume. And after he says that, he basically shoots Beast Boy, implying that he killed him, basically, which is kind of crazy. And before we can see anything else with Deathstroke and what exactly happened with Beast Boy and his death, basically, and what's going to happen with Titan's Tower, we jump into Pariah ending the issue with Pariah basically talking about what's happening on Earth with the new generation of heroes trying to take up the mantle of the old Justice League, and that eventually, that he's going to turn into a weapon. Basically, he's going to turn something into a weapon, which he says, but hope is the greatest force in the multiverse, isn't it? One we will turn to a weapon. Once the sky is turned red, it will be brought to Earth Zero. So something is going to happen regarding Earth Zero, and the issue ends with us seeing the Justice League members basically in these orbs of electricity, light, or electricity, which I'm guessing implies that they're being put into their own pocket dimensions. They're all separated. And Pariah says, and I will use the Justice League to destroy the multiverse. And that's the end of the issue. And yeah, that was DC's Dark Crisis #1. And yeah, this was part 1 of 7 of the limited event series. And overall was an okay issue, okay first part to start the story off. I have some issues with the story. Overall, I do think the art is good, and I thought the writing was okay for the characters, but I do have a problem with the way that they treated John Kent in the story. I think that John Kent is very unlikable as an adult or a teenager, whatever he is. I think he's an adult now. He's just not very likable, and the whole trying to be like his dad thing just doesn't really land, at least for me personally. It felt very cringy and stuff like that. And overall, a lot of people just aren't into these new generation of heroes. So hopefully, as we saw at the end of the issue, the Justice League are indeed alive. It looks like they're going to be in pocket dimensions, which kind of got spoiled with some of the covers that had came out of future issues of the story, future parts of the story. And I guess some summaries had came out or spoilers regarding them being like in pocket dimensions and stuff like that, like different dimensions in that. So we knew they weren't really going to be dead, but hopefully they come back in the series pretty soon. That way we can really jumpstart what this battle's going to be with the Great Darkness. Before we end the video, I do want to talk about Deathstroke and the Titans. We do know that, from the preview for part 2, that Nightwing will have a battle against Deathstroke in hand-to-hand combat, as well as, I guess, gadgets, weapons, stuff like that. We do now know that John Kent's going to fight against Cyborg Superman, so that was unexpected, but that's going to be happening in next part as well, next issue. So overall, issue 2 or part 2 is going to be way better than part 1, 100%. So I am looking forward to that, and it kind of sucks that we're gonna have to wait an entire month for part 2, because this is gonna be a monthly release, which I think is the wrong move. I think it should have been bi-weekly, to not kill the hype as much. But overall, as long as the issues have a good amount of content and it's pushing story forward, has good progression, and is just enjoyable, then I guess monthly will be fine. But we'll have to see and judge that when Dark Crisis number 2 comes out. But until next video, guys, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe as we cover the Dark Crisis limited event series. I cover stuff like Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and Action Comics, which is the main Superman comic basically for now, while Jonathan Kent has his solo series. We're not really covering that. We're not covering that at all, but we are covering Action Comics because that's where Superman, the OG Superman, Clark Kent, is having his stories, and we do have the playlist for all those different stories on the channel. As I just dropped tons of full story videos for the recent story arcs that have been completed for Batman and Superman recently, as well as covering Banner of War, which is the Thor versus Hulk event that's going on right now in Marvel Comics. We're also covering that as well. So if you're into Marvel, be sure to subscribe as well, and just check out the channel as we have tons of content, as well as doing stuff like versus battles, power scaling videos, and discussion videos. And if you want to support the channel, you can donate to the Cash App down below. The link will be in the comment section down below. But until next video, guys, God bless you. Until next lesson, keep on reading those comments.